Okay, DynCorp, Haiti, and me, version 2. There's Pug Winokur. If you don't know DynCorp, they're good at creating and teaching police forces how to do some nasty stuff. We've talked a lot about the Muslim Brotherhood being in 32 different countries and giving them stingers and sarin gas and so forth. But the real original Brotherhood for DynCorp's formed in 1947 at the same time the CIA is created. They're basically the same thing. This is just the covert side. They went to a group like Muslim Brotherhood in the United States called the Brotherhood. See how easy this is? And you're going to see similar things. So I'll introduce you to the leader of the Brotherhood. The leader of the Brotherhood is this man, Doug Coe. Doug Coe, it says here, Doug Coe's family decides U.S. politics and controls governments worldwide. And you're going to find that Doug Coe is also the person in the Brotherhood that handles the national prayer breakfast that they want Trump to go to. And they've been doing it ever since Eisenhower. And it's interesting how they talked Eisenhower into doing this to run when he was running for re-election. He didn't really want to do it because he thought, like the article says here, they're kind of like fascist Christians. This is the guy who says Jesus plus nothing. It's really not Jesus at all. It's just plus nothing. It's this. It's the hammer. It's the chop. If you watch the video below that I show, it calls out Doug Coe talking to different religious groups. I think this one's the Pathfinders, but he goes around talking to different religious groups and says, I want extremism. I want to recruit extreme groups. And he calls out two leaders in his speech and that demanded absolute loyalty and would kill you if you weren't completely loyal. One of them was Mao and the other one was Hitler. And he talks in this speech, and Hillary Clinton is a long time, and Bill Clinton are longtime friends of Doug Coe, and so is George Bush, both George Bushes. And this is what he's talking about is enforcing against informant groups. If you get an order, you don't, when everybody's sitting at the table and then you say that's a marked man, Rupert is a marked man or Gary Webb's a marked man, there's no saying, hey, wait a minute, he's just a journalist and he's just telling the truth about a criminal network that we're doing. No, it doesn't work like that. The informants go to work and there's no questioning. So watch the video below. If you won't believe it. He's actually talking about a Red Guard soldier chopping the head of his mother off and not giving 1 second of question about it. So he's talking about that. Now, the way I realize there's a lot of people in this story, and it really just helps to kind of use analogies, kind of like from the movies. Think of this as the Al Capone walking around that one big circular table with all the other neighborhood dons, from the mafia, and he's walking around with a baseball bat, and then somebody screws up and he smashes him in the head with a baseball bat. Don't screw up. You're going to see these murders all the time. There's going to be usually somebody will go into a party. There'll be 3 or 4 guys that go into a party, or maybe 6. They kill 3 or 4 people, usually 3 because the teams are usually in threes. And you won't know what happened. The police won't know what had happened. It's Doug Coe's group. Killing informants that either talked about what they were doing, talked about the sex, or talked about the organs, or talked about something else. It's Doug Coe's group. This one is the granddaddy of them all. He's still the biggest. He's like 86 now, but I don't think he's dead yet. He might have had a few extra hearts, but and it's called. They even call themselves the Mafia, the Christian Mafia, the Family, the Fellowship, the Brotherhood. All those kind of mafia terms. And like I said, when they say Michael Rupert's on the line here, all these different groups, there's about 1,000 of them. This is the New Life Church with Laura Silsby, New Life Refuge over in Meridian, which I think is the Central Valley, Idaho church. If they don't do what the people at the table said to do, or if they start talking about it, about how it's wrong, Doug Coe's group comes out and it's curtains. I mean, it's death immediately. So, that's who enforces this. So the CIA kind of keeps, or the DynCorp kind of keeps their hands off. They don't want to actually have their hands in the blood. They do have red teams, but for the most part, most of the harassment and life, this slow kill type thing, it's done by religious groups that are thinking that they're doing the work of God. So, people ask me, how could that be an enemy combatant? I saw comments. What they try to do, the CIA tries to say, is it's your church versus all those people, and they outnumber you. They try to create a feeling that the church is outnumbered, that they're God's soldiers and they're outnumbered. So everyone is an enemy. So it's, again, psychology of manipulating these churches to say, hey, it's our 400 against your 400,000 or whatever, when it's actually your 400 versus this kid. So, and had a doctor call in about the heart operation, and I wanted to say that, if you notice the ribs have been spread here, and then it's been sewed back up after the heart's been removed. I didn't mean to say that the ritual performers were actually doing the cutting. Dr. Guy Theodore is the guy who did it in Haiti before the new guy. And then they teach the med students to sew it back up as well. So this is, these cadavers are being removed, though, from taken into Turkey from Aleppo, and this is happening. And the process I saw, if you watch the video, it's about 30 of them that they go, or maybe about 20 that they go through, putting in ambulances. So, I keep coming back to this slide. This is the company. They call it the company inside the CIA, group. That money, that dark money budget, I'm going to call it DynCorp just because I hate it when people say CIA, because so many people say CIA, but it's DynCorp and JTTF here in the States. And that's their money. And they run these operations, and they are kind of like, they even kind of brag about it. It's like, hey, we're kind of living the life of the pirate's life, the whole Disney ride. We get to rape all the girls, and then we get to drink all the whiskey, and then we get to loot all the gold, and we get to torture, and, to find out where the rest of the gold is, and, it's a pirate's life for me. So, and they even use a lot of pirate symbology, and they keep going back to, Queen Elizabeth had the privateers, and then I can't remember, Raleigh was, gallivanting all around, and so that's kind of how they fashion themselves or think of themselves as we're pirates, so. There's even talk, actually, that Alan Dulles wanted that ride at the talked Walt Disney into putting that ride in. So more folklore. I throw folklore in every once in a while just to keep it interesting, because otherwise it gets depressing. But every time you have a situation like this where if it happens in Africa, you could just bet it's coming to Haiti. If it's coming to Haiti, it's going to Chicago. And here's the bodies. And I think 5 or 6 people said, oh, this is happening in Homan Square right now in Chicago. Here's the bodies getting dumped. Now, the easy way to think about all these situations is if there's something really bad, they just make a movie. So here we go. Think of the movies as a big, those old big billboards, that the police used to hide behind, motorcycle cops used to hide behind for speeders. Think of it, Hotel Rwanda here, a Lionsgate picture from Frank Giustra, as that big billboard to keep you from seeing all this. They don't want you to see the forced mining. They don't want you to, see, any of the killing of the heart being taken out, the uranium being taken out. That's why this is covered in Haiti, but they don't feel the need to do that in the Congo. But that's everywhere they make a film. It's just a billboard. So here's the one in Haiti. We got the same kind of operation. The hearts are probably cut out, and a doctor commented that it's careful surgery on the aorta and the major blood vessels. Excuse me. So it's the bodies that are being taken. So I had the direction wrong. The dead bodies are being taken down here and dumped here. Now I'm still saying that there is some kind of wacky, thing done up here on the hilltop to give this kind of if it is uncovered, you want to have some kind of wacky group to blame, like a group of 30 people over here, like Branch Davidians. You want to have a cover story. You don't want to have your doctor who's doing these cutouts exposed. You want the wacky, whatever cover. You want the wacky cover. And this is the next movie. I'll just tell you right now. Team Rubicon is the next movie that's going to be made about this. Benghazi, 13 Hours, that was the movie for that, the cover for that. This is going to be a movie about Haiti. It's not there yet, but it's coming. And if you see David Petraeus, just think of a big movie billboard. It's going to be a big movie billboard, like the wars. Afghanistan was a big movie billboard, and same thing with Iraq. It's going to, they made a couple of those movies, but he's just kind of the movie producer. Just puts it in front of you. So the Clintons, I want to say that this program, and again, it's submerged beneath the surface, has been this slow and steady progress. The Trailblazer program, which is the thing that became the Snowden thing with listening to all the calls, a bulk collection, started way back here with this as well, with the Clintons. You were going to do the wiretaps back then. They didn't have the cell phones, but they were just starting out. But then you're going to use that to, if I listen between two people and I hear that this guy is calling a second girl, right? Then I can start planting little pieces of evidence from the girl. I could even, like, if he does have sex with another girl, I can bring the panties over and have him in his, in his luggage when he gets home, and that his wife sees. That's so easy to break up a marriage that way. And you'll have all these people who don't understand, gosh, why the hell would you be so stupid as to bring home the soiled panties from from your love affair on the road? And that's what's happening. And if you don't believe it, just read the CIA manual. I mean, I'm not the one saying this. These are the CIA directors that are writing it in their memoirs. So if you don't think it's total war and everyone is a combatant, and they don't see everyone as a combatant, just look at the fusion centers. Google fusion centers and see what they call the people in their database that are on the terrorism watch list. They call them the enemy. There's nothing spared. Rape, pillage, and plunder. A pirate's life for me, right here. So, Zero Hedge came out. I'm just going to do updates now. Zero Hedge came out in an article with Jorge Puelo and said, hey, mainstream media isn't covering this. And they're kind of like they're alternative media, but very well respected. Zero Hedge is. That was the same one that came out and said Braverman would be the one to unwind all of the Clinton Foundation. Same guy. He's a kind of a hedge fund, smart investor guy from somewhere, I can't remember, Eastern Europe, I think. So Zero Hedge, follow him. But you're going to see, this is the connection here to India, you're going to see that these original Indian soldiers that are trained up in the north, like the Sikh near Nepal, but I think they're going to, I don't know if that's the Punjab region or the whatever region, I'm getting my regions of India mixed up, but you're going to find there's going to be this like Sikh group of soldiers that's going to be that are going to be in the UN. These same guys that are from Nepal, supposedly, are going to be the ones that are around the Mirabalais hospital, and they're going to be the ones also in Congo and Rwanda. They were those same guys who were using the UN helicopters to trade ivory out of the national park in Congo. It's going to be this group. And like I always said, once you start with this kidney, that's just like loan sharking is the gateway crime to all the other crimes, prostitution, child trafficking, etc. The kidney removal is the gateway to get people used to the organ harvesting idea. And then say, well, this guy's going to die anyway. He's a prisoner. He's a murderer. He's whatever. Kill him. Get his organs. So it's always this gradual thing. They never shock people into it. They get people to do gradual disruption, and a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and it's all very carefully worked out. Here, I would say, just think of this application here, which is called Promise. Just think of it as your cell phone, and these are all your accounts, and so it keeps track of your, all your 5 or 6 or 7 or different accounts. The only thing different about Promise, it's 30. So don't go down the rat hole that they want you to go down. They're going to talk about, they have these people go on and they talk about all these different people, and they're trying to confuse you. They're trying to say, oh, there's 35 different names here and there's 48 different things over there and 62 over there. No, just the only thing you really need to know, just like before, you only need to know about the billboard when they do the movie. You just need to know that these are accounts that are being managed on your phone. And it's an easy way of relating to it. Now, Bill Weld here is the guy who sold this software. Somebody was saying, oh, they sold it to Russia, they sold it to Israel, they sold it to Saudi Arabia. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of like you going to a lot of different stores with your cell phone and buying stuff at different stores. It doesn't really matter. The key concept is the Promise software, and the key concept is Palantir is that same software. The other key concept is that there's a backdoor built in so that Bill Weld here, sitting at the Department of Justice, can tap into any country's investigation system, and now we can go and get a bribe from that person. We know all the things they did wrong. So instead of this person over here in Saudi Arabia getting the bribe, we get the bribe. We beat them to the punch. That's the whole trick of the CIA, just co-opt other people's resources using backdoors. So here again, the 650,000 emails is going to tell the story. Now the IBM, they did come out, the FBI, with 500 new pages, and it's always laughable because it's all from the Mark Rich case, and they're all redacted. Agents' names are gone, everything's gone. I think they just want to be able to say, oh, we released 300 in December, we released 500 in January. You know, what are you talking about, Mr. Chaffetz? You know. But it's comical when you look at the pages. I went through all 500 really fast because they were all redacted completely. Every once in a while, the only thing you'll have is a date, you know, and the beginning of, you know, of a court document or an investigation document. That's all you have. This is just such an obvious cover up. So we've got Preet looking at the wall. A lot of people said, "Oh, Robert Boyce, you haven't connected Robert Boyce." Well, the True Pundit article that came out that said all this stuff, the 650,000 emails that were all State Department, the 19th State Department, they quoted a chief of police, okay? There's like 10 of them in the New York Police Department that report to the police commissioner, okay? But there's only one chief of detectives, and that's Robert Boyce. And if you look at anything on YouTube, you'll see he's the gruff, gravelly voice of the New York Police Department. And I think he still is. So he is the kind of the media star of the New York Police Department, and he's the one who said child exploitation, sex crimes, perjury, obstruction of justice, money laundering, and pay to play. With Epstein, I've used the McDonald's analogy before. Don't try to think of it, well, there was a brownstone over here. Oh, there was a brownstone over there. Oh, there was a brownstone over there. It's confusing me. I can't think of all of them. It's too many in my head. No, just think of it like McDonald's. Or even better yet, think of it like speakeasies used to be in the 20s when drinking was illegal. You would be a kid and you'd walk up and down the street. Somebody said speakeasy, you'd say, "What's that?" Or a lot of people said, "Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. They don't exist." And you sit down and you explain it. No, you walk down these stairs. At the bottom, they have this little window. They open up, and then there's this password that you have to go through because they don't want anybody to see. And then you go in. Oh, come on, that's a conspiracy theory. That couldn't be. There couldn't be those all over the country. Yeah, there were. It's exactly the same. The speakeasies are the same thing as the brownstones. Okay, and it just helps your mind think about it and say, well, yeah, organized crime did this before. So DynCorp is the organized crime side of the CIA. Okay, there's an intelligence collection side of the CIA, which is great. You know, we got to know where the uranium ore is in Congo. I get that. There's that's the field people. There's an analysis side at the CIA, which is people doing this kind of stuff, connecting the dots. And then there's this third thing that Alan Dulles and John Dulles, the two Dulles brothers, added, which is the organized crime, the mafia. It's just the mafia side to the CIA, and that's called DynCorp. Okay, it's the easiest way to remember it. So again, everyone mentions, it's funny how people will come back and say, you know, they haven't seen the previous episodes, and they say, Feinberg, do you know who Feinberg is? Trump's economic advisor. So they just haven't seen it, and they say, you don't have any credibility. You know. So yes, I do know who Steve Feinberg is if you go to the earlier episodes. Boesky, Madoff, Milliken, yeah. And, you know, I think as the time goes by, you know, you're going to see that this is just the New York brownstone operation. This is the Upper West Side by the Metropolitan Museum of Art brownstone. That's how you think of it. Like the Starbucks is up there. You know, they're so common. All you need is a house, right? You just need a camera kit. You just need that camera kit that the one kid had in Columbia for Operation Underground Railroad that I showed in one of the slides. You just order the kit. That's all you need to convert a regular apartment into a brownstone. It has everything in it. So, and if, you know, there wouldn't be articles left, right, and center about all the different federal agencies that have gotten into this business. 30 different federal agencies are now in this brownstone business. And asset forfeiture has become almost the primary business of law enforcement. So, and again, this is going to be the 6.5 million from Treasury, and those are going to be those three classified programs are going to be the U.S. program, which is, I call it PDD 62, but it could be called JTTF, it could be called D&D, we don't know, and then Gladio B. So, okay, I'm running along. Ooh, I'm real long. Okay, I'll talk to you later.